But what a governance team would look for is what kind of interest is being expressed by the community that would in fact be able to be pulled together to support the passage of the parcel tax. So, we kind of gauge how many emails we get, what good ideas people have, what we still have opposition as we did about 8 months ago. And so we're still trying to figure out what to do with that. It's very expensive to administer a parcel tax. They're very expensive, they're very time consuming. So you don't want to go into it lightly. So it's still on the table as far as I can tell, either for this year or for next year. We're really running into some timeline problems for this year, as you probably already know. If you recall, if we have an election in June, that would benefit the 10-11 school year. If we have an election after June, it will not. So if we're going to do something for 10-11 to benefit that school year, we need to call the election, we need to call a June election, and that would need to be called the first week in March, the latest. And there's things we would have to do as we process this last year. So we're trying to figure out, is it best to do something and read our environment as well as we can to benefit 10-11, or do we give it a bit more of a lead time to organize it, to plan it, and benefit 11-12 with an election next year?
And as Trevor had an opportunity to respond, Chris would like to respond. Chris Grant, President of the School Board.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out. The fact that there's so many of you here and so many attending board meeting gives us a very clear message how much this community cares about our schools, which is no surprise. Most of us moved here because of the school district. I can't speak on behalf of all the board members. We're all individual voices, but I can tell you that our biggest concern is the state budget situation and the impact on public education. The reductions that we faced over the last 2.5 years are the single largest in the history of public education, not just in California. And it's really decimating school districts up and down the state. We faced $17 million last year, and had 6.9 to that. Virtually all of our resources, in one way or another, are tied to the front classroom. 80% of our costs are in people. And so you can't absorb these reductions without having a dramatic effect on education of kids. I can only speak for myself as a board member, and I can tell you that I don't think we can solve the budgetary problem by simply making cuts. I think it needs to be a combination of prudent reductions and revenue enhancement. I'm hopeful that the problem is bad enough at the state level that it's going to force reform in how we fund public education in California. We fund less per pupil than any state in the country. With the reductions last year, we have the largest class sizes, fewest counselors per student, per 100 students, and the fewest librarians, fewest nurses. There's a lot of things that California sets the record for. And we're in that mix in Pleasanton. We tried to parcel tax last year, we almost got there. All of the advisors' guidance to us is that part of the process is really educating the community on what's at stake, making sure that there's enough lead time, making sure that you're making prudent cuts and folks kind of understand. And through that, after everybody has seen what's possible through reductions, have a pathway to a revenue enhancement. I can't see us doing it without it, quite frankly. I'm one of 5 voices on the board, and I think it's got to be a high priority, it's got to be well planned, it's got to have a significant enough lead time to pass. And it needs to address some of the concerns that were raised last time by community members. There was organized opposition to it, and some valid issues and points that were raised, and I think we need to address those. We need to overcome that opposition and then bring it back to the community.
Thank you. I think you're, as a forum, you're helping out a lot as well, by the manner in which you're asking strong questions and respecting diverse opinions. One of the things that we have to do is try to bring out people who feel differently. And by the manner in holding these forums, I know when Jamie brought it up at a board meeting, I may have, Kevin, I want you to chair a forum, I may have shot her a little look on what you talked about, but it being a part of it and seeing the good thoughts and the care that's in this room and the respect that people can show for divergent thinking, I think makes it worthwhile. You've got to get to the point where all people can come and share their feelings, so I think you're helping out a lot. Let's continue to do that.